Hello friends, welcome to my channel. In this video I'm going to discuss changes in language in 16th century. So we'll discuss change in language with respect to Renesa period, which is in 16th century, and we'll discuss factors responsible for changes and problems related to vernaculars, enrichment of vocabulary, different points of view regarding the concept of borrowing, declining in borrowing, and then changes in language, orthography, semantics as well. So let's get started by the beginning of 16th century, that is the Renesa period. So we'll have a brief introduction of Renesa. As I already discussed Renesa in English literature, and there is a video available on my channel, all detail of Renesa. So here we'll discuss it with respect to change in language, not literature. So Renesa, 16th century Renesa, mean rebirth, revival, reawakening. So what actually happened, this is the age of development in all aspects of life, especially in learning, in education, and discoveries, innovations were there, advancement in technological as well. So this is the age of enlightenment of human mind, and people began to incline towards education, and they want more and more. So we can say that there was a love for beauty, lust for knowledge, and love for power as well in Renaissance. So what are the influences of Renaissance period? We'll discuss here. Renaissance started in Italy, you know that, and Renaissance rebirth revival. So the Renaissance poets, they got inspiration from the Greek art and classical poets as well. So learning, there was an advancement in learning, literature, language as well, and influence of Renaissance spread everywhere. So it changed the thought and ideas of Elizabethan people. So Renaissance age is also known as Elizabethan age because it was the reign of Queen Elizabeth. So this is age of Renaissance. So we'll see Renaissance in England. So it's, that it took place in England, and left its everlasting impacts and modern England to arise even when it has established itself, and many aspects of medieval culture. And so we'll see two important events with respect to that, and that are rise of Tudor dynasty and the printing press. So the Tudor dynasty, they came to power, and invention of printing press by William Caxton. So we'll see that. Okay, and five major characteristics of Renaissance period include: it expanded their worlds by reading classical Greeks and Roman, as I already told you, inspired by the classic writers. And so spread of humanism was there, which means focus on humans. Humanism means the spirit of human rather than eternal life. And then Gutenberg press was there, which flourished by the invention of printing press. And a growing merchant class, which means the middle class, came to power, and the spread of scholarly Latin made the sharing of ideas possible. Characteristics of Renaissance, will see secularism, which means that formally, as we see that people in Puritan age or any other age, they were more inclined towards religion, and church was dominated everywhere. But here there was an inclination towards secularism, means non-religious worldly things increased. People began to show greater interest in world rather than church or religion. And this is reasoning, yes, rationalism enhanced, and so people use their observation and experience to explain the world rather than Christian teachings. And humanism was there, emphasis on dignity, worth, and uniqueness of an individual, which means focus on individual, that is humanism. And Christian humanism, it was a movement in North Europe that promoted reason through Christian teachings. Now we'll see the factors responsible for changes in 16th century. So the first one obvious was printing press. It was introduced into England by William Caxton 1476. And second, so due to this printing press, obviously it has impact on education, learning. So books were printed and they were became common, rich, accessible to common people, and rise of books, novels, schools. So learning enhanced, books published and increased the means of communication. Newspaper brought people in contact and people exchanged their ideas through different means of communications, and social awareness was there. People become status conscious as well, and everyone wanted to identify himself with better social group, and people were interested in literature as well. So learning enhanced in this age. And now we'll see the factors influencing language change. What are the major factors? So major factors include history, war. So Cold War was there for the throne, and industrial revolution, economic activity, and social factors included education, class status, ethnicity, occupation, personal identity, lifestyle choices. And geographical influence include geographical locations, accent, dialects, leveling, and use of different registers. Register, a specific type of language or dialect, you can say. So specific semantic fields, formality, and tones. And so these are responsible for language change in 16th century. And again, there was advancement in science and technologies, discoveries, theories, and cultural transmission. So how language is passed on through families, social groups connected with each other. These all are factors which are responsible for language change. And now we'll see the problems related to vernaculars. So vernaculars basically refers to the local dialects. So enrichment of vocab. So problems related to vernaculars include the struggle of recognition. At that age, you see, that Latin, Greek, French, they were dominant languages, and so the literary quality, they were superior to English, and English was considered inferior to that languages. So defenders of vernaculars were Alberti from Italy and Richard Mulcaster from England, and later the work of Aristotle, Plato were translated into English to promote English, and market for English books become greater than Latin. And we'll see the problems of orthography. Orthography related to spelling and grammar. So there was no uniformity in spelling and it varied from writer to writer. There was a great variation in English at that time, and the invaders applied their own rules. As you know that after Anglo-Norman conquest, they brought they brought French, and French became a prominent language. So there was a demand for a unified system, and Richard Mulcaster, a prominent name in that age, and his contribution to language, his book Elementary, so it omitted extra letters and many more contribution towards language. And Thomas Swift and Charlie Butter also wrote down books for simplification of English language. The language we use today, English, is very simplified version. As you go through the old English, it was very complex. Okay, so there took place a great change or transformation in language from old to now modern English. There was very available on my channel by comparing old English, middle English, and modern English, the changes. Better I'll give you link in the above so you watch it. So enrichment of vocabulary was there. English was unable to cope with the classical languages because of poor vocabulary. So the writers felt that they need to borrow some words from other languages to fulfill this need. So the vernacular replaces Latin, a very prominent distinctive features of Renaissance period. We'll see. So the medieval age, the Middle Ages, Latin was language of literature, of church, educated, upper class, and monarchy. So over these centuries, language has become evolving through everyday usage. So at the end of Middle Ages, writers began to use the vernaculars, the local dialects. So at that time, English was considered a vernacular, a local dialect that is used by common people. Different viewpoints regarding the concept of borrowing. So borrow, bringing some words from other languages. But here borrow doesn't mean that you return those words, but they become permanent part of English today. So we borrow many words from other languages in English. For example, some words are Italian algebra from Italian, from Greek assembly, robbery, from Latin tobacco, hammock. So at that time there were some people, some writers who defends this borrowing and some who oppose this borrowing. So opposition include Edward Philip, John Cheek. So they mock and ridicule at these unfamiliar terms or borrowed words and call them incom, which mean obscure, unfamiliar, vague. So the defense of borrowing include Dryden, George Patty, Thomas Wilson. And now we'll see decline of borrowing, the permanent addition of regular borrowing. So people will soon become familiar to these unfamiliar incon or borrowed terms in English, like magnificent words. So there was some decline of opposition, so the feelings of compromise arouse and people become interested in incomes or borrowed terms, and significance of borrowing was realized. So language become rich in vocabulary, in words. So the permanent edition regarding borrowing and many of borrowed words are still in use today, and basic words are introduced at that time. So we'll see changes in language, changes in nouns, changes in verbs, adjectives, lexical features, semantic features. So these all can be discussed in detail in my video, difference between old, middle and modern English. I'll give you link in the description. You watch that. So covering each and everything in a single lecture is not possible. It takes times and lecture become boring if it gets too long. So we'll see changes in spelling, for example, conjectual from conjecture, from conjectual, exotic from old exoticus, and consult from old word consultatory. So see the changes in their spelling, changes in meaning as well. So here we'll see some words. Fastidious, old meaning was proud and new meaning was which something that is hard to please, and abject, which old meaning was rejected and now new meaning was mean, degraded. So there took place a change in meaning as well, and methods of interpreting new words. So the reader's knowledge of classical languages helped them to interpret the works, and sometimes an explanation given in parentheses and dictionaries were developed. We'll see all of this development in language as well. So changes took place in Renesa. English language got many changes in its grammar, pronunciation, spelling, vocabulary as well. Changes in grammar. So Renesa gave birth to existence of modern grammar. It helps in development of synonyms, use of classical derivation, and correspond to native noun. Examples include king, kingly. So new words have been introduced through different methods, and and manual nasal nursery. So changes in pronunciation took place as well. So a letter A was pronounced before consonant K, F, Th as long A. For example, in bath, father, or rather. So for the long pronunciation of A, the sound of L is silent in some words. For example, in palm, half, calf, calm, etc. So change in pronunciation took place, and we'll see the great vowel shift, changes in vowel as well. So orthographically, the middle English long vowel E as E was represented in this manner, and example include feet, seek, deep, heat. Okay, and Renesa period phonological additions. So changes in phonetics with respect to phonetic and phonological changes. Phonetics and phonology treating with that deals with sounds of language. So addition of j, v phonemes, and as before the Norman invasion, Old English had no phoneme, and French words that were borrowed into English, yeah, for example, very, van, vacation, simulated the split of f into two phonemes, that is f and v. So now we'll see. So by end of 16th century, the long E had completed the process of diphthongization into E. So these all are related to sound changes, changing in pronunciation. So now we'll see changes in spelling. Yes, we already discussed them and see some examples. And before Renaissance, let's see the changes in spelling before Renaissance and after Renaissance. Det. So the modern spelling of det, DEBT, and before Renaissance it was DETTE. So there are more examples over there. Okay, growth of vocabulary, as I already told you that many words borrow from other languages to enrich the vocabulary of English language. So that's all. Hope you understand. The notes are in the description. By clicking on the link you can get access. Thank you for watching.